Hi everybody, I am the Reading Tortie and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing the book review for Dreams of Joy by Lisa C. Cover should appear here. So, it was published in 2011 by Random House Inc. and it's part of the Shanghai Girl series. I believe it's the second book in a two-part book series. I'm not sure, maybe 2 parts for sure. 2 books for sure. The book follows Joy, who is the main protagonist, throughout her kind of coming of age and accepting her heritage culturally and who she is as a Chinese American, as someone that wants to go back to homeland China, but this is also during the revolution of Chairman Mao and communism. So it's a very tense political situation. In the first book, Pearl, who is her mother, and her Aunt May, I believe, fled communist China during the revolution for better things in America. So Joy decides that she wants to go back to China to find out who her real father is. Who is, you learn quickly, Z.Gi, who is a famous communist artist. And it's her really going with her idealism and her optimism that things will be better in China after this very life-changing and tragic event takes place in Los Angeles, where she currently lives. So she's essentially just trying to find a way to cope with what happened. The main characters are Joy and Pearl. Pearl is her mother, Z.Gi her father, and then there's Dun and Tao. And Dun. I'm trying not to spoil things too much. Joy, I think, was a very difficult character for me to really sympathize with. I didn't quite like her. Thankfully, the writer didn't like her either. So even the writer was like, oh, I made her really hard to like. You know, she's making all these poor decisions that should have been more well thought out. But she's 19 years old, headstrong, trying to go find her place in her world, which, you know, most of us go through. But she just did it very dramatically, leaving one country to go to another that she has absolutely no real connection to and no cultural. She has just no idea what's going on in communist China. And there's all this propaganda and also the craziness. So she goes in a very tumultuous time to China. So the story follows their development as a family, development individually, and it's broken up into different parts between Joy and Pearl's point of view, which is really well done, I think. The setting is realistic, and it's just very realistic, and the poverty is real, and the class system is real. Even though, you know, in communist China there shouldn't be a class system, there is still a class system, and you really see it from Joy's perspective as well as from Pearl's. Pearl is less shocked by it since she was already there at one point. So the setting is great, and something that haunts me to this day is the depiction of poverty, starvation, and hunger. And it is written in a way that I have never experienced before. For me, you know, touchy, hard subjects is nothing foreign to me, but the way it's done here gave me chills, and it was so real to me. I was listening to this on audiobook, and I got out of my car and I felt like I was the one that was going to be placed in a terrible situation because of this, and I felt afraid for myself, and I felt afraid, and it was just really consuming. I really liked it a lot. The plot is very multifaceted and very fast-paced. So there's, you know, Joy's stuff going on, and there's Pearl's stuff going on. And personally, I found myself a little more enthralled by Pearl's stuff at times, sometimes with Joy. But because I couldn't really bring myself to sympathize with Joy all that much, it was really hard for me to feel her plight. Like, I knew the struggles, I knew what she was going through, and man, it's rough, really badly. But everybody had been trying to tell her this is what the reality, but her optimism and her idealism just blinded her to everything. And huge disclaimer, I have never had the luxury of being an idealist or an optimist. I learned very young that life's gonna kick me in the face. It's going to like it. And that nothing I ever plan will ever go right. Is really pessimistic, especially thinking that when you're like 11 years old. But that's the way that I grew up, and that's the mentality that I had. So for me, for someone to be so optimistic and believe that stuff's going to go right and that everything's going to be okay is really foreign to me. So I think that was one of the biggest struggles. I was like, why aren't you listening to Z.Gi? Why aren't you listening to Pearl? They've been there, you know? So it was rough. And I'm so glad that eventually, you know, the culmination of stuff finally got her out of the situation that she put herself in. But it was painful and frustrating to see the suffering that this entire family went through because of this one bad decision that honestly was probably being sowed in book 1 that I didn't read. So it was really consuming, and it was good because even though, yeah, I didn't quite get with the character, I reacted to it. So that means that it touched me, and I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm reacting to it. That's a good sign. The resolution to me was lovely, and it was lovely not for Joy. I was happy for her, and I was happy for everything that happened, but because of Pearl. Because for me, Pearl was one of the ones that went through the most suffering, that went through the most pain as a mother, as a daughter, as a scorned lover, trying to find happiness in new communist China, where she followed her daughter to just try to help her and try to be there for her. And then her relationship with Dunn, which you know from early on they've had past experiences and past acquaintances and stuff, is really beautiful to me because Dunn is such a simple, honest person that I think they were perfect for me. I mean, Z.Gi was cool, but he was like kind of like Joy, one of those toss-ups. But Dunn and Pearl really made the book for me. And at the end, when everything goes down, and I thought that everything had kind of fallen apart for her, when she has her happily ever after, and you'll know if you read the book, when she has her happily ever after, I cried. And I was trying not to cry, and I didn't realize I was crying until I was like struggling not to. That I realized this is the perfect ending, and I love it. And I think the ending was great and realistic, and it was just really well done. So I'm happy that I went through all these emotional stages with the book, but in the end, it was so worth it. So lovely. I'm glad that I finished the book, and I think that's about it. It was just a good book. It was a really interesting experience. Very different than a lot of my other experiences with other books. But let me know in the comment section below what you thought. I would like to hear your opinions on the book itself, and all of the characters, and maybe who irked you the most and why. I had my reservations with almost everybody at one point or another, except maybe Dunn and Ta-Ming. And Ta-Ming's mother. Man, I forget her name though. But yeah, so Tao. If anybody has anything to say about Tao, please let me know, because that guy, he's something else. Not my favorite character at all in the book. And if you read it, you know why. So let me know what your experience is with the book. And thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!